Today we're discussing 8th grade, Chapter 6, Lesson 4, Solve Multi-Step Equations. And we're going to be using the distributive property. Distributive property is when a number is multiplied by the sum of two numbers. The first number can be distributed to both of these numbers and multiplied by each of them separately. For example, we have 7 times 2 plus 3. And if I wanted to distribute that, it would be 7 times 2, which is 14, plus 7 times 3, which is 21. And all of that, the first section or the 14 plus 21 all come out to be 35. So we're going to use the distributive property to solve some equations. Step 1, distribute. So for this one, we are distributing the 15 times 20. And 15 times 20 is 300 plus 15 times d, which is 15d, equals 420. Now we're going to solve for d. We need to get him alone. So we're doing the inverse operations. Everything's backwards. So the opposite of a positive 300 is negative 300. And we do it to both sides. The 300s cancel. And 15d comes straight down. Equal sign straight down. And 420 minus 320 is 120. Next, we're going to undo the multiplication or division. So we have 15 times d. The opposite would be to divide by 15. The 15s cancel. D is all by itself now, equal sign straight down. And 15 times what? Gets me 120. Eight. So 120 divided by 15 is 8. This had one solution, and we found it. The variable has one solution, x equals a. For example, d equals 8. When it has one solution, the problem is called one solution. Example 2. We have distribution on both sides, so we're going to be distributing on both sides of the equation this time. So we have 6 times x, which is 6x. And then we have 6 times 3, which is 18. And that's a minus sign in front. Plus the 10. On the other side, we have 2 times 3x. So we just multiply 2 times 3, which is 6. So 6x minus 2 times 4, which is 8. Then we're going to solve the equation. Remember, we need to put both the variables on one side. It has to be on one side. And we've talked about we always move the little guy first. Well, they're both 6x. So it doesn't really matter. If I subtract 6x from this side and 6x from this side, then they both cancel. So we have minus 18 and positive 10 that would be -8. And over here on the right, since they canceled, I still have -8. So they're balanced, but I didn't figure out what x is. That is called identity. The variable has many solutions. So we could plug in lots of different numbers and it would be true. So that equation has multiple solutions when it comes out like that. Or sometimes it may come out as x equals x, and that again means that there are many solutions. And then an example, the bottom example, has fractions and an example of distributing a fraction on both sides. And when that one was worked out, it came out to 1 equals 3. Well, 1 does not equal 3, and 3 is not ever equal to 1. So that one is called null set. When you find an equation like that, it means it's null set. There's no solution at all. Okay, let's look at some of the problems you're supposed to do today. And let's do the first one. So on this first one, we are distributing the 5x into the 5 to the 3. So this is 5x minus 5 times 3 is 15 plus 2x equals 41. Keep those equal signs straight. And we don't have a variable on both sides this time. The variables are on the same side. So we just need to put those together. If I had 5x's plus 2x's, that would make 7x's. And then minus 15 equals 41. So we combined the terms. We combined where the x's were. Then we want to solve the equation. First, we undo addition or subtraction. So we have a -15. The opposite would be positive 15. So positive 15 on both sides. On the left, they cancel. And 7x is the only thing left. It comes straight down. Equal sign straight down. And then 41 plus 15 on the other side would make 56. And then we undo the multiplication. So the opposite of multiplying by 7 is dividing by 7. So I divide by 7 on both sides. The 7's cancel. X comes straight down. And 56 divided by 7 is 8. Okay, let's look at number 5, the word problem. Miguel and Noe each went backpacking in Glacier National Park. The expressions 4 times d plus 2 minus 2d and 3 times 2 plus d represent the respective distances Miguel and Noe hiked each day. On what day number d will their distance hiking be the same? So this first equation represents Miguel and how far he hiked in a day. D is days. And then the second equation represents Noe and how far he hiked each day. And again, D equals days. And we're supposed to find out when they're going to be equal. So that means this first equation is going to be equal to the second equation. And this is very similar to how it's worded on the test. So we're going to distribute first. 4 times d is 4d, plus 4 times 2 is 8. Then we have minus 2d, the equal sign. Then we're going to distribute the 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times d is 3d. And then we need to solve the equation. So first we want to combine those like terms because I have d's on both sides. Well, I have d's everywhere. So let's put the ones on the left together first. So 4d minus 2d makes 2d because 4 minus 2 is 2. So 2d, and it's positive because the larger one is positive, plus the 8 equals 6 plus 3d. Now I want to put the d's on one side because I have some on the left and some on the right. Remember, we want to push around the little guy, so I'm going to move the 2d. So the opposite of 2d is minus 2d, or negative 2d. And these cancel. 8 is left by himself. Equal sign straight down. 6. And then 3 minus 2 makes just 1d, which is just d. And we want to get rid of the 6. The opposite of a positive 6 is a negative 6. So negative 6 on both sides. 8 minus 6 leaves 2 equals d.